speaker is Dr. Manish Pandya. He is from my town, Srinagar. He is a star and power of Srinagar. He will speak on MRI obstetrics, enhancing diagnostic precision and care. Manish, please.
Thank you, Dr. Acharya sir. As a senior person from my town, it is very good to hear from you, sir. Yeah. Today's topic given to me is MRI and obstetrics. Very unique topic because we all know that we are not used to MRI so much in our practice. How many of you are doing MRI? Yeah. Whenever required or in each and every
Whenever required.
Whenever required. So that is the basic question. MRI is not the essentiality. Thank you for kind words, chairperson. Those who want to scan this to QR code, these are my YouTube and Orchid ID. The moment child is born, mother is also born. She is there. Mother is something new. Say by 3 book written by us is recommended in Royal College as a reading material. Atlas of Fetal Echocardiography and Technique of IVF Made Easy has gone for second edition. And I am editor-in-chief of 2 journals, Indian Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology and Opus SS Journal, worked as a KOL in digogestrone. And recently I got opportunity to interview Professor Harman Purni X-ray. You can see this video. Yesterday, MC Patel, I had seen very good procession. So I still remember my days of Delhi ASTOG when I got felicitated with Dr. Harish Doshi and Kanani Alikar and everybody. What you mean by MRI? That is magnetic resonance. Resonance is also known as reverberance. What it means? The reinforcement of propagation of sound from object to a nearing object in the air area. The same applies to medical field. This is how if you hammer one magnetic field, it will stimulate on another magnetic field by dust and So by definition, MRI is a procedure that uses magnetism, radio waves and computer to create picture areas inside of the body to screen on the monitor. What are the basic principles we are involved in MRI? Placing the patient in magnetic field, transmitting radio frequency pulse by coil onto the subject, receiving signals from the patient to the coil and transferring all signals images into by complex processing of computer, and this is how MRI looks. We have to avoid all the methods. What we mean by propagation of MR pulse, that is produced by external magnetic source which is delivered to the patient body. These pulses from external magnetic coil are also called resonant frequency, that is RF pulse. The proton in our body will pick up the energy in stepwise manner from RF source and receive and they upgrade into their own energy also. The movement of proton in body is under the influence of external magnetic field. Under this external magnetic field influence, all randomly moving protons of the body they are aligned and the process is aligned in a Z-axis. And these all MR signals are received by body of the patient and current is signaled in the radio frequency coil. All this transferred to a computer as a signal and that signals are converted into body images. Why want to discuss MR? We have got ultrasound and ultrasound gives all the information. Everybody will agree with me. So will you are agree with me? Ultrasound gives all the information. Then why in specific cases we require MR? Because it has got very superior spatial and soft tissue resolution, large field of view, multiplanar view, better visualization. Compared to ultrasound, it is costly, limited availability, and so many patients has got claustrophobia. While ultrasound is easily available, no claustrophobia, less time required, but only poor quality, less soft tissue resolution, and only small field to review. There are certain limitations of MRI. Everybody agrees it is very high, costly, maternal obesity. Any patient has got very much polyhydramnios. Any baby is moving inside the uterus, lots of fetal movement. You are not able to get very good fetal images of MR. And claustrophobia, everybody knows that if you going inside and that tuck, patient has got lots of problems. What are the indications in which we have to do MRI? For maternal indication, cerebral vascular flow study to detect the thrombosis. Nowadays in America, To assess the CPD, particularly during third trimester, they are advising MR to prove that there is a Pakka CPD because litigations are more from the insurance company that why you have done cesarean section, you have to prove your cephalopelvic distribution. We all agree that marginal tumors are very well visualized on MR. Best thing till date I am using MR is only to assess the placenta previa and placenta accreta. To document the things, to do my surgery very beautifully, and we can save the patient and save the uterus if we know previously that patient has got accreta or percreta, and that is very well proven with magnetic result. Evolution of intra-abdominal malignancy, lymphoma and renal cell carcinoma. Evaluation of retroperitoneal space like detection of adrenal tumors, pheochromocytoma. It also uses for characterization of uterine and ovarian masses. If you have got uterine malformation, it is very well depicted on MR. What are the fetal injuries? You name the fetal situation. Everything you can diagnose on magnetic resonance imaging. That is ventriculomegaly, agenesis of corpus callosum, cavum septum elutum abnormality, that is about moose head appearance, holocarcinocephalic, posterior fossa abnormality, cerebrocortical malformation, ankyphalosis, hydrancephalic. It is very useful in monochorionic dichromatic twins. And recently I got opportunity to visit Brazil to learn fetoscopic surgery and fetal surgery for the neural tube defect. If there is a spina bifida which is correctable, and we got proper assessment of spina bifida, we can do laparoscopic fetal surgery, and for that MR evaluation is utmost importance. We can know that lower limb movement is there. Patient may have got tethering of cord, patient may have little bit bowel or bladder difficulty, but when patient born, they are born without spina bifida. For the neural tube defect, MR is very good. Precede the surgery, you know that what will be the outcome of your fetal surgery on this particular patient. We all know that centrococcygeal teratoma, sacral agenesis, serinomelia, ventricular abnormalities or vertebral diabetes are very well described and visualized on MR. MR is very good for fetal nervous system because we all know that fetal brain is well observed in intubated sequences because of contrast between the CSF and brain. What happens after 17 weeks of MRI? Both development and acquired intracranial abnormalities have been well established. However, sometimes we have to go for diagnosis of abnormality, we have to wait up to 24. Additional sequences such as T8 weighted and recent advances in MR is diffusion weighted images. That is the recent advances that provide information about brain development, cell density and migration. In case of septo-optic dysplasia, magnetic resonance imaging may confirm the absence of cavum septum pellucidum. If you want to see abnormality of skull face, venolymphatic malformation, hemangiomas, goiter, facial cleft, teratomas, other abnormalities of potential airway obstruction, we can very well visualize on this MR. Particularly in thorax, if we have got congenital adenoid malformation, we are able to see which part of lobe is acquired. Extralobal pulmonary segmentation very well described. Bronchogenic cyst and congenital lobar overfiltration. Diaphragmatic hernia, we are able to know that how much lung is preserved, and after surgery baby is able to survive or not. Because baby is not dying because of diaphragmatic hernia. Baby is dying because of lung hypoperfusion or hypoplasia of that lung development. Diffusions we are able to know. Mediastinal masses, if they are there, we can diagnose. We can assess the esophageal, tracheoesophageal atresia because there are different varieties of tracheoesophageal fistula. So before patient born, we are able to diagnose that this patient will require initial surgery, surgery after 1 week, or surgery after little bit development of the baby. So this different variety of tracheoesophageal fistula we can easily diagnose on this MR. Evolution of pulmonary hypoplasia secondary to diaphragmatic hernia. In cases of oligohydramnios, we are not able to diagnose the thing properly. We can see very well on this MR. Chest mass and skeletal dysplasia is also very well diagnosed on magnetic resonance. Particularly abdominal pelvic mass evaluation. If there is tumor of sacrococcygeal teratoma, suprarenal or renal mass, very well diagnosed on MR. Bladder outlet obstruction like bone belly syndrome or QLMPN, bladderectomy, cloacal dysplasia, we can counsel patient very well. All these anomalies, you will agree with me that all these anomalies can be diagnosed very well on ultrasound. This is just for documentation. Particularly for surgery purpose, you can have a very more documented things from radiologists. Retroperitoneal anomalies like anorectal malformation, it is very little bit difficult to diagnose on ultrasound, but now with help of very good 3D probe and very good vaginal probe, if patient is in breech position, we are able to diagnose this anorectal malformation or cloacal malformation very well. Particularly in the complication of monochorionic and dichorionic twins, particularly MCMA, we can determine the vascularity prior to the laser treatment, and laser treatment believe is very good for MCMA twins, and we are all the patients we are saving from twin confusion. There is no oligopoly sequence, and patient can be delivered very well in MCMA twins also. It is not with MC Patel, it is already also. Okay. So what are the contraindications of MRI study? We cannot do MRI on early viable pregnancy. If patient has got cardiac pacemaker, or patient is on defibrillator, or patient has got any metal in the body, either they are gone for hip replacement, knee replacement, renal failure, and this is very catchy that skin patches and tattoos. Sometimes tattoos has got leg irrigation, so they are not supposed to go for. Recent advances in MRI, Dr. Acharya Sahib, is 3D MRI. So what is the difference between 2D and 3D? When in 2D MRI, the body is excited and there is image. Each RF pulse excites and make a narrow slice. Each RF pulse excites an entire imaging volume, and encoding is used to discriminate spatially. By what happens in 3D? Whole slave is excited and now not image, it is encoded. Each RF pulse excites an entire imaging volume, and encoding is used to discriminate spatially. 3D imaging takes way longer time due to need for slice direction encoding, but has a higher signal to noise ratio, since all the spins inside the slabs are contributing to the signals, and it is very recent advances in 3D MRI. This is just a reference slide that if you are going for any radiation, it has got no relation with MRI, but this slide I find essential that before going for any X-ray, CT or that, probability extended threshold dose in early pregnancy is 50 to 100, and in 16 to 25 it is 250 to 280. So maximum dose you can get the guideline is not more than 300. So beware that don't you treat your patient unnecessary for X-ray exposure. That's why American College Guideline 2027 told that whenever you use X-ray, CT or nuclear medicine, do this judicially. Additional MRI is also required when it is necessary. Use of gadolinium, that is the contrast we are using in MRI, in a pregnant woman only if risk versus benefit ratio is there. If you are done on a breastfeeding lady, breastfeeding can be established after this contrast. There are certain examples of fetal malformation. You can have a very good cavum septum pellucidum diagnosis. You can have a dilatation of third ventricle, cavum septum pellucidum. You can have a very small optic chiasma. This is a moose head appearance in cases of corpus callosum, abnormality or poorly formed corpus callosum. You can visualize very well lateral ventricle compared to ultrasound. You can have an anencephaly diagnosed. This is a normal head, and you can see there is an absence of the crania, and you can visualize there is no skull formation. Microophthalmia, this is micro, this is macroophthalmia. It is very well diagnosed on MR, and it is associated with PHPV. Bilateral cleft lip, cleft palate, very well documentation, and thanks to Gujarat government for the smile train, they are doing it free of charge. So you must, we have to diagnose antenatally, and we have to send patient to the pediatric surgeon. Micrographia, very well documented on X-ray. This is the cases in which cystic hygroma, very well documented with septation with T2 weighted images. Cervical teratomas, very well established as a soft tissue neck enlargement, and you can have a very good documentation. You can tell that this patient can be operated post-operatively or not. Congenital diaphragmatic hernia, you can see that what is the implication, how much intestine has gone in, and what is the post lung residue, that how long will expand after the delivery of baby, and that depends upon the surgery. And now we have got intra fetal surgery also for diaphragmatic hernia. We can use balloon to block that part, and we can also have pigtail, particularly cystic mass in lung. By ultrasound we have put pigtail, and this pigtail is in position or not, that will be very well documented on MR. Sometimes we used to pull that pigtail. So we can say that pigtail is probably placed on this cyst and cyst is draining into the amniotic fluid cavity or not. Polycystic kidney, we can document, we can say the what is the future of the patient. Only and only one condition in mother, that is placenta accreta, very well documented, loss of metabolic layer, very well vascularity, lacunae are there, and that lacunae are proving that this patient has got placenta accreta, and you have to deliver by placenta accreta syndrome with all the techniques you know. If you want to conserve the uterus, you have to use all the modalities for prevention of surgical step-by devascular discharge, and the patient has completed the fertility, you can go for hysterectomy. So in conclusion, the main role of MR is to confirm or exclude lesions suspected on routine ultrasound, as to define the extent and demonstrate associated abnormality. Fetal MR scores over ultrasound due to their higher spatial resolution, larger field of view, ability to visualize fetal anatomy very well, despite of scanty lighter or maternal obesity. Fetal MRI is now increasing used as a clinical practice, partly because of increasing interest in fetal medicine and fetal surgery. Because if some fetal specialists say there is abnormality, then we have got only way to prove or disprove that abnormality by MR only. With accurate diagnosis of abnormality fetal MR, help in facilitating surgical planning. It also helps to predict postnatal outcome as well as management of the genetic counseling. Sequencing, DFW, that means diffusion weighting images are the latest. Apparent resolution coefficient, MR spectrography, functional imaging, volumetric data acquisitions, all are under research. Although ultrasound remains the primary and predominant modality for disorder related to pregnancy, MRI is now being increasingly used for spatial obstetric situation. Thank you very much for giving me time. So mainly it is difficulty because they are necessary to enjoy the success. And if you are successful, people can use you as a monitor and in the GFIs. So ultimately, end of the day, everybody should be happy. Just give me the voice.
The time to be happy is now, and the place to be happy is here. And the way to be happy is to make someone happy and have a little heaven right here.
Thank you very much. Thank you ICOG for giving me opportunity to speak on front of this august audience. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you.
So it was an airplane